This is the real danger to it. That's what I think people don't realize in the state that we're in, the state that we are in, which means that we're in a place beyond the place. We're in a place beyond place. We're in a place beyond the ideation of what could actually be found inside of its conceptualization. And when we have the locality gone and dispersed, now we stand aghast against what has been piped in against us and has been moved in against us past all the technological dreams and nightmares. And I believe, and I stand here, and I really say this with the truth, is that there has been a technological revolution on this fucking planet, and one that has placed us in the ideation that we are within the days of the future, that we are in the days of the past gone by. But when we look around us, what has this been used for? What is these things have been used for? Is displacement, is disownership, is disconnection, a reaching in of some force to manipulate on the ideation that there could be some level of progress. And what progress does is puts us against ourselves, not on the idea of there being some God-forsaken becoming out of what we are, but the self that we should transcend ourselves at all cost. And this is the idea, the great distinction that we could transcend ourselves, that there's something to transcend. This is the death of spirituality, and this is the age of time when things go beyond the morose, when things go beyond the place where they could actually become anything, because what they do is they build themselves up into the idea that they have a right to transcend, that they have a right to be distinctified and stultified against what actually is. And that's why I think people praise technology as something that is here to give the bridge to the new age, to the future. Well, really what it is to give a bridge to the past, in the sense that these things will be brought down. The castles of structure will be brought down by the overreaching and overbearing buildup of what is of, not to be given into the context of there being some moral paradigm. Again, this is the sense, the moral paradigm is not on the acts themselves. It is about the action done through. I will not condemn my fellow man. I will not condemn mankind. But we ask, what is the force that brings forth what becomes? But I'm not talking about technological revolution. We're talking about we're talking about bloat of the idea. The idea that you need to move away from what you are, to need to move away from yourself. This is really what it is. It's like, okay, here's what I will say. The nature of reality is increasing complexity within the constitution of what exists. This is not the same as the modern quasi-religious idea that technological revolution at all cost is here to bring us out of ourselves into some paradigm of, paradise, which will really be hell, because anyone that tries to create paradise in and of itself with their own ideas always creates a hell. We've seen it how many times. I don't need to run through the examples. But this is the real core of the answer, is that reality is an everlasting configuration of complexity within its own nature. Yes, the complexity increases as you pull apart the layers and you look deeper into what truly is. This is true. But it's always an image of itself. It's always an image of God. Reality, it has an image of God. So you can't try to take reality away from its own image and place it in some antechamber and think that that's not going to create a hell. It will create a hell. And this idea of it's an idea of technological paradise. Just like in the 20th century, in the 19th century, they had ideas of social paradise. And this is the thing. If you this is really what the truth is. If you attempt to take reality away from itself and create something that is distinct from what reality actually is, as opposed to exemplifying what is true, exemplifying the truth, exemplifying the depth, and exemplifying the level of complexity and beauty that shows itself within the form at every level. At the simple and at the complex, but it's always a shadow of itself. It always has the shadow of truth is cast long upon the unfolding of eternity. And this is the place to be. This is nirvana. That is nirvana. That is heaven on earth. That is heaven on heaven, or wherever you want to put it. It is being within the image of what is true at every level of existence, at every level of complexity. So you can build. I'm not against technology. But I do know that the forces that are bringing it into existence are not for the good of mankind and will not benefit mankind if it is not in the image of God and not in the image of false paradise, which will create hell on earth. I promise you that hell on earth is coming. If it's not already here, it's on its way, because you can see they are attempting to create something that is not of the image of truth, that is not of the image of God. They attempt to create a temple and an homage. They create an effigy to themselves. That's what the technology is there to exemplify mankind's achievement outside of God's image, outside of the truth, outside of the exemplification of what is true at the levels of complexity as the shadow casts itself across the eternity. If you're not creating technology in the image of God, you will create hell on earth, and that's what they are doing, because they are creating something that disconnects. They're creating something that condemns us. They're creating something that manipulates us, and it is you can see it through its false promises and its utilization for a war and attack on the minds of mankind. It is a stream of demons into the human soul. And that's really what hell on earth is the place for demons to swirl and exist before they are cast out of existence by God's righteous flood, which will come as well. Don't ever forget that. But it's like you can tell what they're building. You can tell they're building an homage. They're building a castle of demons. They're building a castle of demons. That's what this technology is. Because it's not in the image of God. It's not in the image of truth. It doesn't exemplify what is real. It doesn't lay itself at the feet of the truth and fall into accordance with the everlasting unfolding of reality. No, it's attempting to stand on its own and build its own paradise, which will be hell on earth, and it's on its way. It's on its way.